Carlos, let's go ahead and start off with the team that everyone seems to love to talk about every offseason, every midseason, every end of season. It's always their year, and that is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have Brian Schottenheimer as the first-year head coach there in Dallas. Now, he has been the offensive coordinator for the past couple of years, so he definitely isn't a new face in the organization. But looks like, I mean, hey, we're in OTAs now, right? I mean, like we have like the early OTAs going on right now, the voluntary OTAs. Um, and apparently, according to, some of the sources on the inside of the Dallas building, I don't know how much Jerry Jones has paid them off, but seems to be bringing a lot of energy. Seems to be, kind of a new energy there in Dallas. So who knows what they're going to, be. This team, it's so hard because at the end of the day, they seem to always do pretty decent in the regular season. They make it somehow to the playoffs, but then it's when in the playoffs they always kind of falter. So, how do you see the Dallas Cowboys season going this year?
I mean, you're right. Like, who really knows? They got it's OTAs. You have the rookies in there. Everything looks good because there's nothing going on. But quarterbacks look good. Everybody looks good because there's nobody actually on the field guarding them. There's no pressure right now. But they've got a lot of that O line is still. It's got two rookies on it. They lose Zach Martin. He's finally calling it quits, and having Guyton and Beatty as rookies, you never know what you're going to get. And I wasn't a huge fan of Guyton coming out when they made that as their first round pick. Wasn't a big fan of it. The Beatty pick is a good one. You just don't know, is that O line good enough to protect Dak Prescott? I mean, they've got a lot of toys now. With
Yeah.
Pickens, CD, they got Javonte Williams. If he stays healthy, good running back. And then they got the running back Blue from Texas, who I think is a great pick for them. This guy
I
can.
think it honestly was one of the steals of the draft where they got
Yeah.
him. I think he's going to be really good. I think he'll be able to help with that run game because, I mean, they relied on bringing back Ezekiel Elliott last year. Like they were just desperate for anybody and everybody. I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys. At the end of the day, I don't trust Dak, and I don't want to be the Dak hater, but it's just consistently like he always gets you to the playoffs, like, and that's good, I guess, but you're paying this guy a lot of money. You're paying this guy top dollar, right? And he just never has gotten you to that next level. It seems like that they're always wild card or divisional round exits. And you just don't know what's going to happen. Now, I do know that they had some injuries on the defensive side of the ball of things last year, which definitely hurt them in their secondary. So they should be healthy, again this year. But I don't ever think it was really their defense that has been the problem. It's always been the offense. It's always been what Dak Prescott are we going to get this week? And their schedule's pretty favorable. I mean, I was looking at it. Their schedule is pretty favorable. I'll go ahead and I'll say I have them going 9-8. Is that going to be enough to get a wild card spot? I don't know. The NFC is starting to kind of strengthen as we've, gone over the last couple of years. AFC is still kind of king. I mean, you have to be like 13-4 to get a wild card spot in the AFC, it seems like. But it's a tough division outside of the Giants because the Giants are just kind of a big question mark. But you have the Washington Commanders, NFC championship team last year, surprise team with rookie Jaden Daniels. Obviously, you had the Philadelphia Eagles, which, yes, they won the Super Bowl last year, but let's not forget 2 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl, and gave the Chiefs a good fight then. Nick Sirianni somehow is actually a really good head coach. None of us saw that coming, with his opening day press conference, but he just signed an extension this offseason. I have the Dallas Cowboys going 9-8. I don't want to write them off because I think that they are overall a good team. Like you said, that they have good weapons. I just don't know their identity, and you don't know what Brian Schottenheimer is going to look like ultimately when it comes down to, kickoffs in September.
Yeah, they get a little bit tougher to predict the record because last year Diggs and Bland missed 16 games combined, so they can't do it again. Like the defense,
No.
when healthy, is a top 10, 11 defense with Parsons there. They drafted very well. They got Donovan out of Boston College. Should give them a little bit more help. And as long as Parsons coming off the edge, the back end of this doesn't have to be. They're good. They are good, so it makes it even better. I just don't know. Like you said, there's what's that identity with the offense with Pickens is that attitude and him and CD. There should be enough footballs to go around for everybody. And you got Jake Ferguson too, so the offensive side of the ball, weapons wise, is really good. And then you have
Yeah.
Tolbert that's just sitting there as the third string, and you're just that guy can explode at any moment. So
Yeah.
there's the question marks, but I guess we could say that just about any team if they can stay healthy. So, man, I got them at 10-7. Like you say, Dak regular season is great. He's going to put up stats. He's going to go over 4,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns, and now I feel like he's got a running game with Javonte Williams and Blue coming out. Being the rookie, they give him a good 1-2 punch. Blue is fast, and Williams is a beast, man. He just he got hurt in Denver, but when he was at college at North Carolina, the guy could run. Like he is a strong guy. So it's just the Cowboys. Like you said, they could go 15-2 and get ousted in their first playoff game, and
Yeah.
badly, like the Packers did to them. So it's going to be. Let's see what the new coach does. Is Jerry going to let off a little bit? Probably not. But let's see what. I mean, we won't know until he gets on the field. I'm more curious to see what Pickens does. How does him and CD? How does those two? I mean, CD is a top tier guy for sure. And how do you bring those two egos together? And how do they mesh? And I don't want to call them prima donnas, but they're CD wants the ball all the time. I mean, the guy gets 160 targets a year, 110 plus catches, and Pickens wants the ball. And they're both great receivers, so it's going to be interesting. But I think the guy who can thrive out of this is Jake Ferguson. With those two guys on the outside, they're going to have a lot of attention, and Ferguson can have a really good year.
I was just thinking that about Jake Ferguson, because you're going to have to keep your eye on both CD and Pickens. And really, let's not forget, they like to use Tolbert in that slot, and that guy is explosive. I mean, you do not want to forget about him on the field. So Jake Ferguson really might have a pretty decent year. Not that he hasn't had bad years in the past, but this year really might be something. But then again, Carlos, I'm pretty sure last year when we did our way too early predictions, we were talking about Dak and CD might be going off last year due to them being due for a contract, and they kind of disappointed overall. So, who's to say? You never know what you're going to get from the Dallas Cowboys.